Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, regular practice today. Ready to go out and get ready to face a very challenging opponent. Very good football team.
Yeah, Coach, this was looking at numbers yesterday that looked like they got one of the top run defenses in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Couple big guys up front. Does that be kind of where the challenge starts for you offensively?
They are challenging almost on every single level. You know, they got a really good front. Leonard Williams is one of the best players in our league. You know, obviously they went out and got D-Law from Dallas. You know, obviously we got a lot of familiarity with how they coach the front with Adden being there. They have a little bit of attack style. They have a style that they can play, be able to play the run. They have a bunch of guys up there, Byron Murphy, that really play well. They got Ernest Jones at the middle linebacker position, which we know really well just based off being with them out in L.A. Very good football player in all rights. And then obviously they picked up a bunch of guys in the draft. They got their young nickel playing who's safety / nickel, kind of got that Baltimore type feel that they've had. Coach has done a great job out there with that defense, getting those guys going. They play with a lot of confidence up front. They play with a lot of confidence across the board. And there'll be a really good challenge for us for our football team.
Jones, how does he have 5 picks?
He is very instinctual. He has a unique skill set to be able to drop in coverage and match routes and play different patterns. He has great hands. He is very good, skillful at blitzing when he has his opportunities. When he gets on backs, he's virtually unblockable. You got to be locked and loaded to play this man. He's going to be everywhere. He's a very instinctual player that is around the football at all times. He's been like that since a rookie. And it's always great to see him have success, just not this Sunday.
You expecting Drake to be at practice today, or where's he at?
Drake will be out of practice today, but he's still in the day-to-day, format. So we'll kind of check him out. He'll do some running stuff with our people on the side, but he won't be at practice. He won't be doing practice things today. Yes.
Raheem, what are you looking for? This is kind of a general question, but what are you looking for from Kirk, I guess, for the final 5 games here? What is a positive?
Sorry, Mark, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was pretty easy. Obviously winning would be number one, and then the second part of that is just being the operator he's been the last 2 weeks. I thought he's going out the last 2 weeks and really operated at a very high level. Meaning not turning the football over, really getting our offense going, really moving the football down the field, being able to create down the field, not passing game. Obviously getting us going, putting us in the end zone, the red zone. We've been very effective in the red zone the last handful of weeks. Probably well before Kirk got in, but he's just continued to be able to do those things. So all of those things are really positive strides in the right direction. I think Kurt's done a nice job of really stepping in, taking over that leadership role. The one Miami game, I don't think he's in a great spot when he's coming in as a backup that way, or so many unknowns involved. And he's shown that over the last 2 weeks, being able to go out there with the full boatload of preparation and all that entails to be able to go out there and really execute at a high level.
How much input has he had on, I guess, game plan and also personnel? Because you guys kind of shuffled the deck as far as wide receivers the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Kurt's not going to go into that room. Kurt is more just vocal on when we're putting it in and talking about how he sees it and being able to really communicate, to the guys across the board, whoever's in the room, really communicate to the coaches that are involved and how he sees it and the big picture. And then if it's something different, we can communicate those things at a higher level just because of his experience and wealth. He's not coming there with a playbook. He's not coming in with any demands like that. He's just coming in really, adding onto it. And then after we practice, he's really good at coming in and talking about what he really likes, what he saw, what's a little blurry to him, and those are the things that you work through when you're dealing with these veteran quarterbacks. So that makes it really calm, really easy. He's been able to do some of those things, which has been helpful. And then as far as personnel, that's just always going to be the best player, and it's going to be based on practice. So right now we're at the position where we're out there practicing, and we've had a bunch of full speed practice the last couple of weeks, which you guys have been able to see. And you've been able to see guys like DT really emerge and become a guy for us. And last week he went out, got a couple completions, was able to be a part of our jet sweep game, was able to be a part of our return game, and he's really provided a spark for us. And those are the guys going to play that provide those sparks at this moment. So personnel, that'd be based on us. Obviously his familiarity of the people that we're throwing to and some of those different things. But Kurt's not in the building politicking for anybody when it comes to those things. He's just more or less going through the process and being himself.
To follow up on Drake, having missed a couple of weeks now, is there in your mind, does he need to get on the field by a certain day in order to have a chance to be active?
I wouldn't say that with Drake. Drake's just when he's ready to go, and we put him out there. But that'll all be, health related. Everything we're gonna do with Drake is definitely to take care of Drake, make sure he's good. We won't put him in harm's way by any means. And when he's ready to go, Drake will be out there ready to go and playing at a very high level, which he's always capable of doing. He loves football. We love watching him play football. The connection with his guys, he values very much. He's at every single meeting. He's at every single thing. He's at all things encompassing. So, he's one of those guys who wants to play football.
We saw a couple of new names, or at least one new name last week at receiver. You've obviously been scrambling, trying to keep that going in his absence. You mentioned getting the Darnell Mooney back that you saw against the Saints. How frustrating is it to have the inconsistency there, in Drake's absence?
Frustrating is probably the wrong word. It's just more of how to get it going. You got to be able to create those things and how to figure out how to generate some of the speed that we were able to get last week from DT. We're able to get some of the route savvy from David Seals. He provided us a little bit of spark catching a double post touchdown versus New Orleans. Last week he caught a screen, probably one of the ugliest screens you ever saw in football, but he caught it and was able to get up in there and get it done. And all those different versions, you able to see Drummond get some really cool things done when it came to the slider with the time at the end of the half a couple weeks ago, and really be smart enough and savvy enough to get those things done. We took a shot to him last week down the field, different things of that nature. But, we've been talking about these guys for a while, and now you get a chance to see some of those guys go out there and play. It's kind of a little exciting for me, as opposed to being frustrated. Now, you want to go out there and be able to accumulate some wins with those guys and be able to get those things done. But, when you get a chance to watch other people play and watch people get opportunities, it's always cool to see people take advantage of it.
How do you feel TJ Yates has been in that?
Is that me or you?
I don't know.
I think it's when they open it. It's
That's Arthur Blank, guys.
I'm like, dang. How would you evaluate how TJ Yates has been just in the role of stepping up kind of as that receiver?
We've asked him to take on a tall task, having to move into that room and do a couple different things and be able to communicate to those guys at a high level. You watched us be able to move around different personnel groupings and do different things and get some blocking things that we wanted to get done. The attention to detail has been very high. The demand has been very high, and it's been a really nice job done by him, of having to step back and do those things and knowing his passions at quarterback, but having the ability to do those things and to create the flexibility from all your coaching staff to be able to move around and be able to help out wherever needed, and he's done a great job of doing that for us.
On the Seahawks side, Jackson Smith and Jigba has really exploded this year.
He has, man.
Yeah, what kind of threat is he?
It's he's on one of those record-breaking paces this year. He's looked unbelievable. Going to watch him now as opposed to watching him when he was a rookie. He's definitely significantly improved, and not in a bad way. I don't mean that as a shot, but just he has his versatility and the things that he's doing. I remember he was primarily a slot as a young player. Then I watched him as a second-year player get better. He's always been very confident. He's already been high in himself, but now he's just playing like, that lead dog number one. And I guess stepping into those shoes with the void of DK has really provided that for him. And he's playing with Cooper Kupp, who I know is providing all the savvy things that he's been able to put on tape, some of those things for him, or helping him out at least, or at least providing some type of challenge. And because how great Cooper is, but he has really emerged into one of our league's best, and it's great to see when players develop that way.
What's it been like seeing both of the first-round draft picks have the season they had in Jalen and James?
Expected, you draft them for us. Anyway, I know it's we talked about these things. We talked about these guys being able to provide an immediate pass rush for us, and it taking a little bit of time, and to watch these guys go throughout the season and do what you kind of expected from the draft is satisfying for everybody, all hands on deck. The people that drafted them, the people that are part of the draft, the people that went out and graded them, the people that brought him here to play. I think those things are kind of satisfying to see those guys have the success that they're having. But those all things come with challenges, right? There's been mistakes there that we see and we know we had to deal with, and they're going to be learning curves through all those things. We talking about rookies, we talking about second-year players. Those are all going to happen. And it's been the necessary evil that you have to get guys to play how you want them to play when it's time.
How have you seen them handle when adversities have come up and just kind of learn from any mistakes that have been made?
I've loved the way they both kind of handle it. They've both been honest. They've both been accountable when it's been bad things, and the same when it's been good things. I watched these guys be able to connect with their coaches better and at a higher level. That's been really cool. I've watched these guys being able to connect with their teammates, and really the biggest connection that I've seen those guys make is with each other. I think they hold each other to this competitive standard that's really fun to watch.
When a player goes out in the field and makes a mistake or something like that, I know everyone's like, it's all about the coaching and the coaching. But at some point, what's the accountability also on the player? You can coach all you want, but at the end of the day, you guys aren't out there.
I love taking the bullets from my guys. I do. And that'll never change, right? When a guy makes a mistake, what can I do better to help him? That's the way we look at it as coaches. That's the way they look at it as players. And that's completely fine. There is an accountability to all of us, and we all have that accountability in this game. We're entertainers, and our job is to go entertain. But at the same time, like finger pointing and absolutely being honest with each other is two different things. And like I always be honest, I'm never going to point fingers.
This is the second year in a row you've played Seahawks, just by a weird circumstance. When you look at the tape, are they doing anything differently defensively under a new offensively under a new offensive coordinator and Clint Kubiak?
Oh yeah, Clint's done an outstanding job. You know, the whole offense is different. Is way similar, more similar to ours and or San Fran version of it. You know, obviously they got the different personnel groupings. They can go out in 11, they can come out in 12, they can come out in 21, they can come out in 22. They got fullbacks on their roster that can do those things in a unique, different style of way. But a lot of similar concepts, a lot of similar run techniques, and a lot of things that they're doing like us. And like I said, you know, Jackson Smith and Jacob was really flourishing in it. I see Coop doing a lot of same things that we did to Rams, that we do here with Drake. You get a chance to see a lot of similarity things, and it's pretty cool to watch those guys and how they've really been able to really make plays and do a really good job. And Clint's done a great job wherever he's been. You know, he's had a chance to go do it in Minnesota a couple years ago, which I thought he really did a really good job at. And, you know, obviously it didn't work out for him there. He got blamed with somewhere else, go to San Fran, come back, and now he's doing it again. He's doing an excellent job. So it's like, you know, all of those things happen within coaching, all those things happen within plan. Is like every year is going to be a different year, and he's done a great job this year.
I think Bijan already has a career high for receiving yards. I mean, we're going against it.
Charles, I don't know how many yards do you have. And this is truly an honest question. I have no idea. I think you know how to feel about stats, but go.
Off the top of my head, something like 574.
That's awesome.
It's but going against a tough run defense, you know, what type of advantage is it for you to be able to have a guy that's multi-talented and you can put the ball in his hands in different ways?
That makes the world of a difference, right? It's like they got to prepare for him, and like we're going to run our runs, and we're going to have different runs. We're going to have some of the same runs, and we're going to go out there and run those things and give it to two really good football players, and let those guys see what we can do. We're going to try to accumulate the yardage that you want to be able to accumulate from a run standpoint, but it is nice to know that you can throw the football to, you know, really both Tyler and Bijan, and like those guys are going to go out and make plays in the passing games as well. So like you have options, but these guys are very tough for us to run.
During the ups and downs of the season, who's kind of surprised you that you've seen become either more vocal or kind of just like step up and take accountability with a group of guys in there?
You know, yeah, just recently, just Mike Ford. You know, obviously, you know, we had our failures on special teams last week, which was well documented, and there's no doubt about that. But Mike Ford and how he takes in the accountability of it all, you know, with Josh Woods on special teams and how they take accountability of it all, how they're able to, you know, clearly communicate to their guys what they want to get done and how they want to get it done. I think those things are all, you know, building blocks, and they're all stones, and they're all signs of really good foundational pieces for your football team to build on, and I think those things will happen for us.
I was close, 594.
594?
594, yeah.
I just know he's been productive. You know, like I truly believe stature for losers.
We'll get Marquise tomorrow, but what are the is this? How do you fix the special team coverage issue? Does it matter just sending somebody a head up? Not I don't want to say head hunter, but you know.
You can't say that.
I can't say that anymore, but I mean, you know.
Roger Goodell, that was D-led.
But
No.
do you send somebody to the ball? Or?
Yeah, no, it's being disciplined within your leverage. It's being disciplined within your leverage, right? And when you got to execute a job, you have to execute a job. And like, again, like it's identifying the problems and without blaming people, right? But like the jobs are clear descriptions. You have to be disciplined in your leverage. You have to go down and make sure you maintain that leverage. And then after that, you have to set a block and make a tackle. And those are things that's going to happen. Those things are part of our game, will never change. And as long as those things don't change, you know, it won't change. You know, like we got to go out there and make those plays, and that's what we have to do.
We obviously don't get to see a lot of practice, but I guess like how much of practice is focused kind of like on the special teams side, or do you feel like maybe the emphasis now would be heavier compared to maybe other weeks, or is it kind of split evenly?
Allison, it's hard to say you can dedicate more time to anywhere, right? You got to have timely things about your day, right? And then what's going to happen is it's definitely going to create an emphasis, right? The emphasis gets created through what you didn't do well and what you want to emphasize it on, right? And then how do you go do those things? And like Marquise does such a great job every single week of making sure we have tackling drills, we understand, we're able to communicate what leverage you want to play on. And sometimes in special teams fashion, as we know, those bodies change a lot. So there's multiple people you're counting on that have to be on the screws and the details of everything. And when you lose some of those voices that we talked about, whether you're talking about a Josh Woods or not, you lose some of those team captains and voices out there to make sure we absolutely know what's going on and we don't lose control or lose sight of that. And those are some of the things you kind of emphasize this week. And I think those are some of the things that you just asked about. Who's been the sneaky leaders and who's been the guys that are talking up. And I love when that happens because That's exactly what kind of stuff you're talking about. The emphasis will be on those things today with our coverage units. The emphasis will obviously be on the things of not making the same mistakes, and the emphasis will be on getting better. And that's all they can do.
Anything else? All right, thanks, everyone.
All right, guys.
That's Raheem.
Thanks, Raheem.